to the Blitz.
Hello and welcome in to the Blitz. 2 hours straight sports talk. Lots of mock drafts. Some good news for one Memphis Grizzlies superstar, even though there's bad news around that team right now as they're 0-2 in the playoffs. But I digress. On top of that, got some fun deals for you over on Big Zone, deals that we'll be getting into. And Alabama versus Missouri. Going to get some help on that conversation later in the show. Cody Goodwin, Bama247, going to be joining us. Talk a little bit about that series. Why Alabama should win it, because they haven't been winning a lot in the SEC play as of late. And also some of the studs that are going to be called out tonight, including Jahad Campbell and possibly Tyler Booker into the first round of the draft, as well as what's going on over the weekend, because that's going to be a majority of the conversation, Joe. A lot of mock draft conversation. I filled out my 2.0 mock draft. You got in some sort of draft?
No,
I don't know. What did you do?
I don't have a mock draft at all. I am going to react to yours.
Okay.
That's how this is going to roll. Mainly because, look, literally every single mock draft in the world is going to go out the window the first move that gets made. Like
the first trade that gets made.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's the first team that makes a move either up or back. Everything is done.
And I wanted to throw in some trades because there was a few times where I was like, "Oh, I don't know if this team needs this, so I might see this change some sort of way." But at the same
still think
time,
the Titans should trade.
I don't know.
They're not going to.
That first pick is definitely appealing. I wouldn't trade out of that unless they're going to 2. Maybe you got to trade with somebody close unless you're going to get a lot in return. But we got a lot of conversation surrounding that, and you guys are able to join in on the conversation as well as. Yeah, we're only, 10 hours? No, 9 hours, 56 seconds.
No, 9 hours, 56 minutes, and 35 seconds.
I'm just going to round it up. We got 10 hours left until the draft begins. You're going to be able to listen to it on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, so look forward to that. But make sure you guys do take advantage of our Big Zone deals because, Flow is back, baby. That's right. The best trampoline park in the area is back on Zone deals, so make sure you guys head on over to the site, get 50% off on that, get your kids down to Flow Supreme Air. Maybe throw them on that little bouncy basketball court thing and let them dunk or something like that.
Oh, that basketball court thing was legit.
Oh, it's so legit.
Oh, it is so amazing.
Is that your favorite thing that's over there, Joe?
So no, my favorite thing that's over there is the I don't even know what it's called, but it's the experimental trampoline, like the one that you can. It is designed for you to jump like
the Olympic one.
Yeah, like 20 feet in the air if you wanted to. Like there are videos on the sides of the walls that show you how you should be jumping on the trampoline.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a little unrealistic, but it's showing you what you're capable of.
That in the joust court. I love the jousting thing. I could do American Gladiators in that place.
We got to joust a little bit, Joe.
Yeah, the joust was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. I'll definitely be going to Flow Supreme Air off of those Big Zone deals, having some fun with the family. But regardless of that, you guys could also get some of the best food in the area for 50% off. And then there's also the possibility of a few new ones popping up in the next few weeks. So definitely keep that tab locked in on your browser. You can also jump in on the show, 256-576-97.7, as me and Joe continue on with our second hour of the day. We were helped with Drew. We had to hop in on that because Scott was going to do volleyball, like beach volleyball today.
Beach volleyball in the rain.
I mean, is this just going to be like a mud fight? Is that what we're going to see?
Well, it's sand. I mean, so it's not going to be mud, but it could, because sand is what you put on things so that the water can seep through. But it's going to be a little bit harder than normal. Sand, it's going to be very solid. It's going to feel more like concrete for whoever's playing in this because it's the ASUN. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a little bit interesting to kind of see how this is going to go for Scott today. So yeah, he's got that. I'm supposed to have baseball tomorrow afternoon.
Let's hope.
And Saturday afternoon as well. And then the wrestling event that I'm going to be a part of on Saturday night at New Hope High School, which the head football coach for them, Coach Harper, is going to be joining us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. To talk about not only just that, but also everything that's kind of going on with his program, because some of his players are actually playing in the second round of the state playoffs right now for the baseball team. That's going to be happening at New Hope as well. It's going to be a very busy day around the field over there. And so, yeah, there's a lot that's going to be happening this weekend.
And we're going to be talking about a majority of it, including the Braves, as they got themselves a win. They won the series yesterday against
Braves
the Cardinals. And that's a 10-win Cardinals team. Obviously, one of those wins came from the Braves, but regardless, that makes the Braves a 10-win team. And just think back 2-3 weeks ago, this team was winless. And now back to, of course, 10-14, which is something that
means they're 10-7 since the 7-game losing streak.
I got to admit, Joe, I've got hope for this team. I think a playoff run is definitely doable. It just needs to continue on this way. And, of course, there is the thought of the Dodgers coming up. But at the same time, you look at the struggles that they're having. They had an injury actually hit their bullpen. So you got to look at that team. Blake Snell, shoulder inflammation. So he was shut down. So you give it a few more days, Joe. Blake Snell's still out. The bullpen's getting thin. Obviously, the team's not as healthy as it was at the beginning of the season. I'm thinking the Braves can at least take one, maybe two, and push forward with a little bit of momentum going forward in the season.
You've got to make a West Coast trip. They're about to, matter of fact, they're heading out to Arizona this weekend to face the Diamondbacks. Then they're going to be finishing off the midweek games with Colorado before heading back to face LA, which all of those games are going to be, two of the three are going to be nationally televised on Fox and ESPN for everybody that does not get FanDuel's South, whatever we're calling it now.
Just listen on 97.7 ESPN.
Yeah.
The Zone.
Or you can listen on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And in those games, though, right now, Roki Sasaki, as well as Tyler Glass now, and Dustin May, those are all three pitchers that the Braves are supposed to face
there you go.
When the Dodgers come back into town. But this is a different Braves team. Right now, the thing is this is actually setting up much better for the Dodgers next weekend than what it is for the Braves, because right now the Braves look like they're going to be sending Holmes and Schwellenbach out. They still have Sundays as a TD or TBD. Could be a Spencer Strider if he's healthy, because of the retroactive with the IL injury. You could possibly see a Chris Sale go there. There's a few options that the team may potentially have, but pitching wise, Braves are going to definitely be down when it comes to the way that this is kind of setting up.
Yeah, and you can also join in on the chat box over on WZZN TV, whether you're watching on X, Facebook, or YouTube. Matthew's hopped in the chat, throw us the good morning, as well as the I tried those trampolines and figured out gravity is not on my side. Yeah. That's why you bring the kids. For the older folks, they've got this awesome entertainment area. You can chill out, watch this big screen TV. They usually have the ESPNs going. And sometimes they even turn on WZZN TV themselves. Love those guys down there at Flow Supreme Air. But there's something for everybody over at Flow Supreme Air. Again, Big Zone deals. And as always, the show presented by the wonderful people at Fleming Roofing and Restoration. The guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up. Joe, we need Fleming to show up to our studio. Let's be real.
Yes,
all right.
No, we absolutely do. And in fact, it was funny because with all the rain and stuff, and especially the wind that has happened over the past couple of weeks, right when I got home yesterday, right as because I left a little bit early because the Braves game was taking place, no Tom Abraham. Right when I pulled up, there was a roofing guy that was kind of going around the neighborhood, wanting to get some, let everybody know, like, hey, we know what's happened to your roofs. We're already helping a few people in the neighborhood, just letting know. So I'm sitting there talking to the guy, and I was like, hey man, look, I've got, I'm good. I've already got my hookup. Like I'm good with her. And so it is one that I'm just going, everybody is needing some help, especially with as much rain as hanging. But again, we've got ours.
Yeah. Fleming Roofing and Restoration,
so,
of course.
And can I just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room? Can I go ahead and, I don't. Yeah.
The guy that represents the elephants, he's already out of the room.
Yeah, no, he does. No, I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
I am
all right.
The elephant that kind of the news that came in for me right before.
That thing.
That one. Let's just go ahead and knock that one out.
It's gonna be
So-
a fun week, man. I'll tell you what, Joe, you're gonna drive me to an early grave. I'll just say that.
Thank goodness that we're we're in front of a Costco. We're not in front of an ABC store. So right now we've been talking about this a lot. I've been very open about what's been going on with my wife's pregnancy. So much so that my wife has received phone calls, and the fact that now she's going, why are people asking me about this when I'm at work? I'm
They
like,
care.
I don't know.
They truly care.
I mean, they listen to the show. I'm very appreciative that they listen to the show, but I can't get to this point and then be like, all right, no, I'm just not going to say a word of this.
Look, if you want to, ask and see how she's doing, just call in 256-576-977.
So I say that just because I told you guys yesterday about what took place at the doctor's office. Oh no. And she went, you talked about that on air?
She was pregnant.
And I said, well, I mean, I didn't go into detail about what all was happening, but yes. And then I told her about me saying, did the baby give you a high five? Why are you saying, oh no? I got the look of, I cannot believe you said that on air. Well, I mean, I did. You can go back and look at that. So my wife calls me yesterday afternoon because we were waiting on the blood work to come back in. We were trying to sit here and figure out, crap, my wife's listening right now. Okay, here we go. We're doing this together, baby. Here we go.
See what we can peel off.
Okay, so my wife is, I told you we were waiting on the phone call for blood work. If the blood work came back and they had some question marks about it, then we could have had the baby yesterday. But what happens is my wife says, look, if they don't call by like 10, I think we're good. All right, cool. Show starts. We get through the show. No phone calls. We're all good. Okay. My wife gave me a little bit of a scare yesterday morning because, she's telling me, hey, if this is bad, then, we need to go in. They're probably going to call me like right at 8 a.m. So my wife calls me at 8:15. I start having a panic attack just seeing her name pop up on the phone. I start looking at John and I'm like, hello? And she's, Governor Drive traffic is just awful. I'm like, why are you calling me about that? Do you not know the time? Do you not know what I'm sitting here waiting for? Are we having the baby? Are we not? What's going on? She's like, oh no, everything's good. I still haven't gotten a phone call. Okay, well, you need to know the moment. Okay, you need to know the moment. So then yesterday afternoon, I get home. She calls me. I pick up and she goes, hey, you want to have this baby on Monday?
Wait, you just asked to have a baby on a certain day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she goes, you want to have this baby on Monday?
Let me see. Actually, I'm gonna see if Summer, is flexible on having a baby as well.
Does that fit the schedule? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I said, wait, what do you mean? Like Monday, like as in today is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So 4 days from now, 4. And she says, yeah. She goes, they're a little worried about some things, and so they kind of want to go ahead and schedule it. So I was like, oh, okay. So Monday morning at 6 a.m., we have got to be at Huntsville Hospital because we're having this baby on Monday. So, yeah, it is.
I need more people in here.
No, there was really kind of a pathetic clap. But it is going to be April 28th, which is the day that I chose, literally when we found out the estimated date of when the baby was supposed to come. The baby was scheduled for like May 17th. Then they said May 12th. And I said, watch it be April 28th because my wife and I have 2 anniversaries in April.
The bold strategy.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And so what's happened is my wife and I started dating. We made it official on April 27th. Woo! We got married on April 29th. Oh, I was waiting for the woo. And now we are going to have our 3rd child and our 2nd daughter on April 28th.
This is for all the Tostitos.
Oh, absolutely. No, this is it. This is all the Tostitos. So it's going to be April 28th that we are going to have the baby. And we are going to spend our anniversary in Huntsville Hospital. Extremely romantic. I hear the steak in there is really good. And so the estimate right now, as long as everything goes okay, I will take the week off. I will take Monday off of the following week. And then on Tuesday, the 6th, I will be back. Is the camera checking out the roof right now, wanting to see if they can see the
What's going
leak?
on?
The camera's looking straight up right now. Like even the camera's dreading this story.
That's not good.
No, the camera's like looking out right now on WZZN TV. It has just started looking at one ceiling tile. And it's not even the ceiling tile we're having issues with.
It's slowly making its way down to me. I don't know why it went straight up.
Yeah.
That's
Molson's
strange.
hopped in on the chat and he says, so is this last kid, best kid? Last kid, I wanted to say that because I say last hour, best hour, last segment, best segment. I wanted to seriously think about when she came out to go, hey, last kid, best kid. But then I feel like, okay, that's kind of mean to the other two. So I can't really say that.
What is going on?
Your camera is going through an earthquake right now. Your camera is going through an earthquake.
Steve, we need more cameras.
All right. So while John tries to figure the camera out, while my wife calls me and talks about, I can't believe that I just talked about high-fiving the child in the doctor's office yesterday. While all this is taking place, just know Monday morning, not going to be here. We are having this kid. Okay.
Sorry, I'm focused on the chat, I'm focused on the camera, I'm focused on your story. And she's like, no, let's not make that a thing where it's like last kid, best kid.
Yeah, my wife just commented in the chat. She goes, yeah, how about we don't do that? How about we just say last kid? Okay, last kid. I'll wait a few years before I say best kid. If that's the case, we'll figure out which one that is. John's figuring out his camera.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out who's going to get drafted number 1, 2, 3, and 4 overall in
John
the NFL
Morant
draft.
is figuring out what lawyers can do for you.
Apparently get you out of situations that John Morant is in. But here we go. My last 4 hours on the air until I'm only a parent of 2, because when I come back, I'll be a parent of 3. Heaven help us all. We'll be back on the Blitz.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bad compressor, leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490.
AL certain number 21014. From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy, overcast sky this afternoon, very similar today to what we've seen the last several days across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the 70s, and we're talking about another chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Just like the last couple of days, we're not looking at any severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. Dropping into the low and mid 60s as we head into the overnight, early Friday morning, maintaining the opportunity for a little bit of rain, a cloudy sky Friday afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the 70s with scattered showers and thunderstorms. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Attention, may I have the camp's attention?
Your home of the college football playoffs.
Playoffs?
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Playoffs?
Have you got this
What
figured
the
out?
hell is going on with my damn camera?
Don't know.
Sorry.
Maybe it's looking up in space for the Guardians as the song plays.
Here, I'll put it back on the stream just so people can see what it's looking at. It's our roof, and it's a good tile, at least. It could have been a bad
There's
tile.
what Fleming Roofing and Restoration can do for you right there. You see that shot?
It's a good shot.
That right there is showing you, even in all this rain, this is what your ceiling tiles could look like in your business right now.
But this is a better shot right here, though.
Yeah. Sup? I'm rocking my Derrick Henry t-shirt today.
I see that
This is
vintage.
dude, I love this t-shirt, man. This was big for, I want to say, the 2022 season is when this t-shirt really became big. And all my other gear, it's the same way with the Havoc. All my gear for them are all long sleeves and sweatshirts and hoodies and all that. I don't have many short sleeve shirts to begin with that I really can rock. And so I am I'm just sitting here just thinking like this is what I'm going to go with today.
And I like it, Joe. And I like it.
This
But
is it.
You know what? A lot of people like a lot more than any other drafts that can be done. And I think it's because there's none of those lottery picks. I think it's straightforward enough to the point where if you're the worst team, you pick first. And it just continues on in a perfect cycle. I don't think anything's wrong with this thing because even if you're the team sitting at 31 or 32, you could still find yourself getting a hella good pick. And that's what the Chiefs love to do. Xavier Worthy last year. And this year I'm looking at it, and I want to think that the Chiefs would be like, you know what? Why don't we go back-to-back with these stud wide receivers in the first round? Let's get Luther Burden. There's a possibility for that. No, look, there is a possibility for that. There's other teams that might want to jump on it first. But, Joe, I have this is the official John Abraham mock draft 2.0. All right, Joe. And we can go by it a lot faster because I actually have all of the picks saved on my little device that I call my cell phone, a.k.a. my iPhone.
Just so that you don't screw up and absolute
yes.
Delete this thing.
That is exactly what it's all about. Cam Ward's going first. I don't think anybody's going to pick against that. Also, you're able to join in on this conversation. 256-576-977. Joe said 4. So 4. Travis Hunter's going to the Browns. I want to be excited for this one, Joe. I've talked about it before. It's just tough to get excited about any first-round pick for the Cleveland Browns because, like Brandon said, not many times we see a first-round pick get a second contract. But Travis Hunter might truly be a different breed altogether.
Well, and a lot of this actually kind of comes down to what the NFL draft does, and it is trying to balance everything out. And so a lot of times the reason why you don't get a second contract is because the team you go to is awful. Look,
exactly.
Honestly, with Cam Ward, I know I'm sitting here and I've got my Titans glasses on and my Titans t-shirt, and I'm ready for 9 hours, 35 minutes, and 45 seconds from now when Cam Ward is going to be named the new starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Like I'm ready for all of this. Yeah. Okay. I've accepted the fact that he is going to be it. And I also understand why that is the only decision that the Titans can really go with at the one position. I think it would be definitely different if they were in the 2. But the team, offensive line help, your skill positions you're still needing to add to. Running back course, that's kind of good. But defensively, all of this. Titans have a lot of work that they have to do. Yeah. Cleveland Browns, the exact same way. The reason why these players a lot of times don't get a second contract is because they haven't been able to play well because everybody around them has been awful.
Think back to Justin Blackmon, which, by the way, public intoxication, he got arrested for that. His life has gone straight downhill, all right? After being drafted to the Jaguars in the first round back in 2013, 2014. And now, I mean, you should see him. He's totally unrecognizable. And I don't want to throw it at the Jaguars for that being their fault, but he didn't help out his career whatsoever. So that's the one thing that's got me worried about Travis Hunter. Same thing for Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel didn't want to play for the Browns. I don't know if he even wanted to play in the NFL.
Well, also, again, the team he was with was horrible. No, I'm just saying, like, he did not have help around him.
No, and that's the same for a lot of these players.
Look, and a lot of times, like, you can talk about it. Like, we go back, let's go back and look at the Super Bowl, okay? Because it popped up the other day about Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes this is his record in the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. Go back and watch the 2021 Super Bowl when it is Mahomes and it is Tom Brady. Go back and watch and see how many times Patrick Mahomes threw a football that hit his players in the chest and or the hands while he was running for his life, because it was like the third and fourth string offensive line that was playing for him. It doesn't help when those are your situations because you don't have the help around you. And that was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This can happen anywhere, but especially with teams that are bad at the top of the draft. The only way that you're not going to be in this scenario, I mean, heck, even the Bears had the opportunity to not be in this scenario again this year. They had like 2 top 5 picks last year or something. Like, they had the opportunity to grow big time and still haven't done that.
And I think that's because they got 2 playmakers that you need to kind of build around. You got Romo Dunze, you got Caleb Williams. You can find some success with a wide receiver quarterback duo, but at the same time, you need that line to help block. And that's why I think this is one of the best sports ever, is because you need a full team for it. You move on to that number 3 pick. The Giants obviously could utilize getting a quarterback. This is too high for a quarterback. Shador is going to drop down a little bit farther. Even if he's still in the top 10, you don't want to jump on him so super soon. You could also get a tackle. Again, similar situation to the quarterback. You'd have to jump back, grab a guy like Will Campbell, which, yes, he'll probably be in the top 5, I would say. But at the same time, when you got a guy like Abdul Carter on the board, you're going to get him just because, Joe, you see defensive ends get that second contract, even if they're on a bad team, more than an offensive player or even, I would say, a tackle. You could see him getting a second contract, but again, you want your defense to be stout as well. Defense does, in fact, win championships.
Well, because on the defensive side, the players around you do dictate how many times you'll get double teamed, how many, the system and things along those lines, but you're still able to see on film how good a player can be based on how much of a wrecking ball they absolutely can be.
Exactly.
Just by themselves.
Yeah.
So somebody with an Abdul Carter, again, he's worthy of the number 1 pick. And if the Titans had their starting quarterback and they were still, like, say they were in a situation like the Indianapolis Colts where you have your starting quarterback, if you really wanted him, the Colts could have kept Peyton Manning and then you're still drafting number 1 overall. You could have went a different direction. This isn't the case. This is somebody that they need their franchise quarterback, or this coaching staff could be gone after this year.
So, Joe, I got an interesting.
So you go with somebody that's not Abdul Carter. I would love to have him.
Wow. You go for the 4th pick for the Patriots. They need a running back, wide receiver, which I think they're fine at running back. Ramondre Stevenson's actually really good. A second string running back, I would say, yeah, you might want to grab one of the second or third round picks for a running back, but they also need a wide receiver and offensive lineman. Now, I've changed this one up a few times, Joe. I actually went bold on this one, okay? Because instead of Will Campbell going to the Patriots, which very likely will happen,
he should.
I looked at the quarterback position. And don't worry, Joe, I didn't pick a quarterback in this case because they've got Drake May, but Drake May does need more help. You got Stephon Diggs on this Patriots squad, okay? You got Demario Douglas. You got Matt Collins. There's only one proven wide receiver, and even last year, he didn't really prove himself. So I'm actually thinking that they're going out west, and they're going to get McMillan from Arizona.
Yeah, okay. That
changes it up a little bit. Make it unique, Joe.
Well, and remember, though, you got to remember who their head coach is. Their head coach now is Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is going to want to have he wants to have defensive football teams, but he also wants to have good offensive lines. And so he's going to be okay with this. I honestly, if you want to go quote unquote bold and you weren't going to go with an offensive lineman, I could see Ashton Genty going here.
Well, yeah, you're wearing a shirt right now.
I mean, basically.
That goes towards Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, so, exactly. So that's why I'm sitting here thinking to myself, and Ashton Genty could be a player that obviously you already have a running back in New England, but you add this guy, another power guy, a guy that can receive outside the backfield, which adds to the wide receiver core.
Yeah.
You have the ability to kind of outline a new type of offense if that's what you're wanting to do. They need to go Will Campbell, though, because you have a great quarterback in Drake May. You do have a number one wide receiver now in Diggs. You have a very good running back. You need to help your offensive line so that Drake May isn't getting murdered in the backfield. They need to go Will Campbell.
There you go. I like the conversation right there because it changes. It gives the three possibilities of what Mike Vrabel and the Patriots might do. And you, of course, knowing Vrabel very well, thinking a running back or a tackle, probably the best pick on that one. But now we head on to the fifth pick, and it's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of people, for whatever reason, want to say that the Jags are going to hop on Ashton Genty. But at this point, if you still got Mason Graham on the board, Joe, I'm thinking they go Michigan. I think they get Graham at that number 5th spot.
See, and they also need offensive line help. And I know that the Genty thing doesn't make sense to me with them.
No.
I mean, you have two very serviceable running backs. You need wide receiver help because, obviously you've been losing some of your wide receivers. You lost Christian Kirk. You got rid of him. Obviously Calvin Ridley now is a Tennessee Titan. So you're looking at this and thinking like, why would you go in that direction when honestly you really don't need to, because you do have Travis Etienne, which yes, he was very injured. You have Brian Thomas Jr., which is now your number one. To me, again, you still need offensive line help. Yeah. So why you are not going with Mimbo or however you say Mimbu or however you say his name from Missouri, like either him or Josh Simmons, to me, those are the guys that you need to be going with just to help the offensive line. Because again, you have a really good quarterback. Mm-hmm. He needs to stay healthy. And how does he stay healthy?
Not been able to.
You get an offensive line that can block.
Yeah.
That is it.
If Will Campbell's still on the board, they're going Will Campbell.
Yeah, if Will Campbell's still on the board, what is that saying? You don't walk, you run. That is exactly what you're saying. You are going up there with that card and you're laughing at everybody in front of you that's not gotten him.
Yeah, but let's be honest, this Jaguars team also needs a little help on the defensive side of the ball. Even though it wasn't their biggest concern, they've got playmakers on the offensive line or defensive line would probably be serviceable.
And they need
for that fifth.
Well, and they also is because they also need guard help. Mm-hmm. But at that position, which is what, 5? Yep. You're not going to go with a Booker. Like you're not drafting Booker at 5. Like you would draft him in the middle 10s, because then you're starting to get into like your second and third tier, bests when you're talking about other positions, when you're looking at position of need. And so Kelvin Banks, Tyler Booker, like you could see them in the middle 10s, but you're not going top 5 for a guard.
So next is the Raiders. And Joe, this one, I've been sitting on it. I'm still thinking it's going to happen. I'm thinking Ashton Genty. He's going to come on over. And again, Raheem Mostert was signed by the Raiders during the offseason. But Raheem Mostert wasn't even a starter last year. You get a running back that was good 2 years ago, really good season, but of course he's getting older. There's a fall off. You need that young talent. I think Ashton Genty fits the Raiders organization perfectly.
No, and this is going to make sense for a couple of reasons. The only other option that I think the Raiders could go with here is going to be if you went and looked at wide receivers, depending on where McMillan is, where Matthew Golden is, where Burden is, because you just brought in Geno Smith. The conversation is obviously like Geno Smith's not worth that. He's not going to be Raheem Mostert. If he is healthy, then he is also going to be a serviceable back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's been seeing that with the 49ers, and you could possibly even pick up a running back in the second or third round that could complement him. Mm-hmm. The problem is that right now you have nobody that you're really throwing to. If you are with the Vegas Raiders, I think I said Oakland, maybe. So I personally am saying you go wide receiver here, especially if somebody like McMillan or Golden is available.
Yeah, I think Golden will definitely be available at this spot. McMillan, I think there's definitely a realistic possibility. With the Raiders, I like Jacoby Myers, though. He comes over from New England. I think he had a lot of success. Trey Tucker's decent, but you're not wrong. They do need a little bit more help at that wide receiver position.
Your number one receiver is Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
I mean, that's your number one receiver.
True, and he's the tight end of this
and
team.
he's the tight end. Like that's now I know the tight end position is being looked at differently in 2025 because they are looking as more of a catcher more than what they actually are going to be when it comes to run blocking. But at the same time, you need deep threats on the outside, which is where a Golden comes in because Jacoby Myers he's going to play a slot position for them. He's going to be a guy that's going to be that number 3 wide receiver that's not going to be in on the 2 wide receiver sets. So that's why you want somebody that's going to be out there for every single play. And that's where a McMillan or a Golden could come into this. If those guys are available, which one, if not both of those should be available at this point in time, because you really need to get Geno Smith another weapon so that he can continue to be a lot more useful in this situation because he already came from an offense that was run based, which even when they had good receivers with Seattle, it was still more, wanting to use the ball for the run, but that was also because of his head coach.
He found success the same way that Sam Darnold found success.
Which is very skeptical.
His wide receivers were extremely talented, and I would say that the Raiders or the Seahawks had more consistent room compared to the Vikings, who had 2 of the top, I would say, wide receivers in the NFC. But for, of course, Seattle, you lose Tyler Lockett, you lose a few of the other guys. DK Metcalf, of course. And now they need a lot more help at that position. And that's why I think Sam Darnold's going to have a little bit of a harder situation as a Seahawk. But speaking of Tyler Lockett, Joe, you should be pretty happy about him.
Yes. No, it
joins the Titans.
Well, and with Lockett, again, he is going to be a complimentary back. Basically, what you did with Tyler Lockett is you just found a replacement for one of the wide receivers that you just lost. Like it wasn't, you're not bringing in a number 1 wide receiver with Lockett. He's going to be a complimentary back, a complimentary wide receiver, I should say. And so, yes, he's got great hands. He's going to be able to bring those in on third down situations. He has not had 1,000-yard receiving year since 2022. He hasn't had more than 5 touchdowns since 2022 as well. And so he's kind of like on the, I don't want to say the downside of his career, but he is in a spot now where he's going to be a complimentary wide receiver that you're going to see in situations now that are not going to be. He's going to be the guy we're going deep to. He's going to be your slot guy over the middle that's going to make the catch, and he's going to progress to the first down.
Similar, I would say, to Jacoby Myers for the Raiders, which we just talked about momentarily. New York Jets, 7th pick. I see them actually making a trade, maybe backing up a little bit. I think their offense is actually pretty stout. Justin Fields, of course, joins the team. It's going to be a little bit interesting to see how he plays. He was fine with Pittsburgh for his few games that he started. But this is a team with a solidified running back room. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen. I love them both. I think it's similar to the Jaguars room. 2 really powerful backs. On top of that, Alan Lazard comes back. Josh Reynolds comes in from Jacksonville. On top of that, you still got Garrett Wilson. I think this offense is looking stellar, but you also need to build up that offensive line a little bit more. I think you bring in Will Campbell from LSU.
If Will Campbell's available, this is the best spot because you have got to go offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, with the way that Justin Fields is going to want to play, he's going to be an RPO type quarterback. He's going to want to pass the football because he does have guys like Garrett Wilson in. They still have Lazard when Lazard is healthy. You've also added 2 guys in Josh Reynolds as well as Tyler Johnson. That's kind of that complimentary wide receiver, the way that Lockett is going to be. I want to see how Fields is going to be able to navigate not having the wide receivers like he had in Pittsburgh. And so you're going to want to lean more on the run. I want to see them go and get offensive line help. And if it's Will Campbell, that's absolutely where you go. Whoever the best offensive lineman is on your board, that is who you go for in this situation.
Exactly. And then we move on to the Carolina Panthers, which need a lot of help. Joe, this one, I don't know if I was 100% set on it, but I will say that I think it would still help out. I had them going and grabbing Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, defensive lineman, help out the defense because although the offense needs a lot, I think the defense is the one that definitely showed a little bit more of the cracks. They have a few free agents coming to that defensive line, Bobby Brown and Trayshawn Waltram. But you got Jadeveon Clowney leading that squad, and even he is, I would say, a second to a third string defensive end. You need to get a guy that gets sacks. Walter Nolan seems like the guy for me.
And what they're really in need of is going to be edge rushing. And there's 2 things that you could look at from them that they really in need of. I still would look at Warren. Again, he's that Brock Butler type guy that I know that he's a tight end, but he's also a wide receiver, and he truly could come in and be your number one from day one.
Yeah.
He truly could be. If you are going to go edge rusher, Abdul Carter is going to be gone, or if you're going to go defensive line, I would still look at Walker. I would still think about Jalen Walker.
I think that is. I think that's pretty good. I think that the Tyler Warren tight end pickup would be good as well, because Tommy Tremble is the only guy. He's the starter for this team as we head into 2025.
And Tyler Warren, he's like that. Remember when Carolina was great? They had Greg Olsen at their tight end.
Yeah.
He was reliable. Obviously, he's not like a Travis Kelce type reliable in there, but you kind of saw his ability to be able to make the catches in the red zone, being able to be athletic. He'd be mismatches for outside linebackers, also mismatches for safeties, because those are going to be the guys that are going to be coming up and guarding him as well. I still go Tyler Warren on this. But if not, then I would actually go Walker with this if I'm looking at it.
I put down Tyler or Walter Nolan, but as we head to the 9th pick, this one gets a little bit more confusing for the Saints.
Oh.
Your quarterback right now still isn't healthy. We don't know a timeline, and you got a few guys behind him that aren't really that big of a deal. Spencer Rattler, of course, hasn't really been able to prove himself. Same could go for Jake Hayner. All of these guys had to start at one point. But then you got Ben DiNucci sitting at that 4th spot.
Oh, Ben DiNucci.
Yeah.
Great. Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to be the New York Giants? Go ahead. Be my guest. But I see a really good tackle from Mizzou on the board still, and I think that they're going to go with Armand Membo.
So,
and that's a stretch right there, because you might need a quarterback. So, Shador,
here's the thing is over the course of the last 5 minutes since you've been talking, I've had X pulled up, and there are a lot of executives now that are saying that Dart is not going to get past the Saints. So now again, that's conversation right now. That could be one of those, hey, the Saints could be putting this out so that they want to see if they could get a trade partner so that they could possibly trade back. And so they're saying, look, hey guys, if Dart's available at 9, we're going to get him. And so these teams that are behind them that are looking at possibly the 2nd round or even looking at your 10 through 32 are looking at it going, oh, we've kind of had our eye on Dart as well. They're trying to see if they're going to get any bait for this. So look, it may not happen. They may get there and they take offensive line help or anything along those lines like you're talking about. But if right now, from everything that's happened over the course of the last 5 to 10 minutes while you've been talking, is that Jackson Dart is going to go to the Saints.
But how much of this do you think truly is a smokescreen? Because we've seen a lot of things, a lot of people talking about Milroe, maybe him being a first rounder. I mean, somebody might bite on these talks.
Milroe. I don't even expect to see Milroe tonight in Green Bay. I truly believe that Milroe is going to be in a hotel room tonight. Tomorrow he will be at Lambeau Field for the draft. That is what I'm expecting.
Okay.
Because they do bring guys in for the 2nd round and 3rd round so that they can make their walk as well. So that's where I look at him actually going on this. The problem is that when you have Chris Olave, when you have Brandon Cooks, Rashad Shaheed, I mean, that guy was tremendous early on until he started getting hurt in here. You still have Alvin Kamara, which is considered a wide receiver for you at a lot of sets. You have Foster Moreau that you just brought in from Las Vegas. This offensive set that the Saints have is good when they have a healthy quarterback. I would be seriously looking at getting Jackson Dart over Rattler or anybody else that you have right now in that facility, because even with Derek Carr, because if you start to even see the fact that Derek Carr is still going to remain injured or he's not going to be your number 1, you could possibly even think about releasing him to try to save some money, depending on what the cap looks like. Or you could even look to see possibly if you get Dart, you could then, if it is possible, which I'm not sure if it is, that you could possibly even trade him. If that's possible.
It's a similar scenario I see to Kirk Cousins, where you got a quarterback, he's getting old, he's had success, he's injured though. And you don't know if you want to rely on him or you want to snag a quarterback. But we finish off this segment with the 10th pick, and that's going to be the Bears. They went all offense in the last season in the 1st round. I think they're going defense here, and I think they're going to be looking at the safety spot, Malachi Starks. Joe, opinions on that one?
I think they should go Tyler Booker. They need offensive line help too, because look, as Caleb Williams, you don't know what you're going to have in him until you're going to be able to protect him. And so if you are thinking that Caleb Williams is your quarterback, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find somebody that's going to be able to block for him. You have Swift in the backfield. You have DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. You have a really, really good skill set position, guys.
Yeah.
And if Caleb Williams can have the time to pass to these guys, this Bears offense can be really good. I know that they've added help at right guard, center,
of offensive line help.
The middle triangle is what Coach Mack always likes to call it, that middle three. Those guys, good. If you don't go Booker, because you do have a left guard and right guard, then I would possibly look at seeing what you could get at tackle.
Yeah.
Depending on what's happened in front of you.
That's what I looked at when it came down to it. Do they want to get a tackle? Do they want to get an offensive lineman? Or do they want to go defense? Because they did add 5 new linemen during the offseason, all from scattered parts of the league.
Because, I mean, based on where you're going right now, Josh Simmons is still available.
Josh Simmons, yep.
And he is going to be a guy that, think about it, if you're the Bears and you're wanting to go offensive tackle, and there's nobody that is in this draft right now that you are seeing as far as the defensive line is concerned that is better than Josh Simmons, right now he's being looked at one of those 25 to 32 in the first round or early second round guys. You could possibly make a trade back for him if that's the guy that you know that you need because you want to help the offensive line. If you're wanting to trade back on this, then go back and drop back to 20. It's okay to drop back to 20 then, because you know that Simmons will still be available and you can pick it up and possibly pick up a couple more draft picks with it. It's considered.
I like the mindset you're going with, Joe. We got more picks to get through. We're going to get through all 32 of the first round. That is going down tonight on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Look very much forward to that. And tomorrow we'll have a lot of reaction on that and a few guests as well. But we're going to hop to a break. When we get back, close out the first hour, hop into the second, finish up our mock draft, get into a conversation with Cody Goodwin from Bama 247, talk a little bit about the studs from Alabama and how they might come into play in this weekend's draft. This is The Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, ESPN Winchester, and WZZN TV.
This is Brent Musburger's BSIN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
NFL draft kicks off tomorrow in Green Bay, and the Tennessee Titans had the number 1 overall pick. And bookmakers believe that Tennessee will select Miami quarterback Cam Ward. He is the heavy favorite to go number 1 to Tennessee. You have to bet $20,000 to win $100 on Cam Ward going number 1 overall. The NASCAR Cup Series, Jack Link's 500 at the Talladega Super Speedway. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, all 11-1 to win it. William Byron and Brad Keselowski, 12-1. Baseball yesterday, Cardinals over the Braves 10-4. Braves at $1.70 favorite this afternoon against the Redbirds. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, Check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at SensaGreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want money.
You know, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Not let the devil in benevolent as I've ever been headed spinning this medicine screaming dick medicine dick.
Hello and welcome back into the Blitz. John Abraham, Joe Hunk. You can only see Joe Hunk over on WZCN TV because the camera says, I'm going to leave today. I'm taking it off.
Dang.
We're taking this segment off the draft talk. We're not going to talk as much this time because we only have a little bit of time. 256-576-97.7. You guys could join in.
So before we swapped whatever you want to talk about, I was talking about how the Bears could trade down if they are looking, because you said defensive line help. I said offensive line help. Say they were in love with Josh Simmons. The Tampa Bay Bucks are in need of defensive help pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
They are sitting right now at 19. Now they're not going to want to trade their second round pick, but they do have a third and a fourth that you may consider trading for, maybe even for that fifth. You trade back to 19, you could still get Josh Simmons. You pick up a fourth or fifth round draft pick in this year's draft as well for that. And then you're able to potentially do a little bit more depending on how it's going. That's somebody that you could see is trying to trade up into it because they need line help. They need edge rusher help. They need linebacker help. They need safety help. Bucks are looking for anything to help that secondary as well as that defensive side because their offense is great.
Yeah.
It's the rest.
And we'll get to the Bucks later on in the show in the second hour. But Joe, I may have spent some money yesterday, and I think I've gotten a little too deep into this new addiction that I've got. Don't worry, it's not drugs; it's worse.
Call 1-800-GAMBLER is what I see on the TV right now.
Okay, yeah, I probably should. It's not the regular gambling because guys, we're not allowed to gamble. Sports gambling is not allowed in this area.
It is if you live a mile from the state line.
Yeah, which I'll be going up there a little bit throughout the week. Not because of my sports gambling addiction. I can actually hold on to that. I can say, no, I'm not going to gamble this weekend. Joe, I'm back into cards. And it's not sports cards.
Don't tell me it's Pokemon.
I'm back into Pokemon cards.
Dang it.
Joe, whenever I sold the $300 worth of cards and it was just 4 cards, bro, I was thinking, wow, this is actually cool. I can enjoy this hobby while also making the money back and buying some more. So what did I do with the money that I bought? Well, I got from those cards. Well, I did buy a few more cards at the card show. It was a wonderful event, by the way, right off of Airport Road. Yesterday, I walked into Walmart. I was looking for a box. Joe, if you got any boxes for like Hot Wheels, I'm trying to sell some. I'm trying to get rid of some. If you got any, I would love them. Because I went into Walmart looking for a box that would have cost me $2. I ended up walking out with a box that cost $130. Because it had 18 packs of Pokemon cards and a whole lot more.
Whoa.
I thought I was responsible with money.
Didn't you just say you went in for something that was $2?
I went in for a box. They didn't have any of those normal boxes. No containing.
So you know what? You know what? That is how we always joke about our wives feeling whenever they go into Target. Look, I was just going in for that one shirt that I knew the kids needed. Next thing you know, there were some shoes there that I knew they needed. There were some other clothes in here that I knew that was going to be sold out by the time we go. Kind of like with Costco, where the inventory right there in the middle where all the clothes are just literally changes daily. So you don't know where it's going to be. I had to go ahead and purchase this. You went in to spend. It's like you went in to buy a Snickers bar and you came out with stock in Snickers.
Pretty much. The worst part about it was I opened every single pack. I didn't get any hits.
That's what you get.
The best thing about it, though,
you get.
My neighbor, Joe, shout out to him yet again. He listens every once in a while now. He got me a birthday gift, and it was another box of Pokemon cards. And I actually pulled a $50 to $150 card. So that was pretty cool, but it's not going to make up for my losses that I had on the $130 box. But I had a bunch of different packs in it. I've learned my lesson. I had another thing in my hand. I probably should have just went with that. I'll learn. It's all about learning our lessons as we are continuing to learn our lessons within this mock draft today, week, all that stuff. We'll continue on in the second hour.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states will work as before. See website for detail.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update, presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250-plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
The Braves topped the Cardinals in dramatic fashion in a 4-1 win. I'm Barrett Salee, and this is the Braves Radio Network morning update.
Get clean car happy all season long at Tidal Wave with exclusive membership discounts, giveaways, and more. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com/Braves for more information.
The Braves topped the Cards, take 2 of 3 in the series, and a 5-1 homestand for the Braves before they head out to Arizona. Eli White was the hero yesterday. His 434-foot home run in the bottom of the 8th gave the Braves a 4-1 lead.
1-1, a fly ball high in the air to deep left field. This thing is clear for takeoff. It's a 3-run homer.
And Daysbel Hernandez would finish it off from there. How about Bryce Elder? 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts in Wednesday afternoon's win over the Cardinals. The boys will head west now to the desert. 3-game set coming up with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Chris Sale on the mound on Friday night. He's 0-2, 6.17 ERA, 32 strikeouts, and 7 walks. Ford leadoff show coming your way, 8:25 Eastern Time. First pitch against the Cardinals at 9:40 right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by The Good Feet Store. The Good Feet Store, for over 25 years, helping people get back to the life they love without their feet getting in the way. Start your journey at goodfeet.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Thursday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, We'll be joined by former Alabama women's basketball player and first-round draft pick of the WNBA's Los Angeles Sparks, Sarah Ashley Barker.
And trying to get better and better every single year. And so I think it's one of those things where it's like, hey, like it's a good recruiting tip, in my opinion. I think that they can use it in a way of like, hey, we're going to have these WNBA players back in our coming on campus and being able to be around you and being able to impact you and that kind of stuff. And I mean, I just remember when any former player would come back, into Foster or Coleman, like, and come to our practices, like it means a lot to you just because of how much they poured in. And so I think it's just, you're like, hey, we've got 3 WNBA players coming back to practice. That says something. And you want to be able to have those type of people come back and just that caliber of a player, if that makes sense.
I'll have more in a moment.
This is Christian Miller for the Good Feet Store. I know from playing football at Alabama and in the NFL that if you have foot, knee, hip, or back pain, it can be a huge challenge. The Good Feet Store is designed to personally fit you with arch supports that alleviate and even eliminate your pain altogether. Try them before you buy them. During your free, no obligation, personalized fitting, and you can wear them home the same day. So if you're looking to improve your game, the Good Feet Store has you covered. Stop in for a free, personalized fitting today. Roll to victory at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com. Roll Tide.
Join us this afternoon for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms at UA_CTSN. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
This is Brent Musburger's VSIN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
NFL draft kicks off tomorrow in Green Bay, and the Tennessee Titans had the number 1 overall pick. And bookmakers believe that Tennessee will select Miami quarterback Cam Ward. He is the heavy favorite to go number 1 to Tennessee. You have to bet $20,000 to win $100 on Cam Ward going number 1 overall. The NASCAR Cup Series, Jack Link's 500 at the Talladega Super Speedway. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, all 11-1 to win it. William Byron and Brad Keselowski, 12-1. Baseball yesterday, Cardinals over the Braves 10-4. Braves at $1.70 favorite this afternoon against the Redbirds. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
Second hour, final hour, best hour on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Joe Hunk, John Abraham. I am the only one on camera today because John's camera said, peace out. I'm done for the day. You know what you could do? You could take this camera that's normally facing Drew and go and shoot it back towards you.
Well, let's actually, I'll fiddle around with it, Joe.
He's the fiddler is what we call him. As John's been going through his mock draft, he has made an updated version. Most people only come out with one a week. John comes out with one a day.
I don't know, man. When it comes to the guys that do it for a living, they do it every single day. So
they may do it. What they probably do is they probably have a big whiteboard themselves, and they're adjusting things based on the text messages and all that they're receiving. 8 hours, 56 minutes, and 40 seconds until the Titans are officially on the clock with Cam Ward. And look, here's also part of this before people go, if they already know it's going to be Cam Ward, why do they take 5 minutes to make the pick? Like, can they not just hand the card right there? Well, it's because they can't really make the official call until they are on the clock. So that's the reason why they do this, is so they have to call Cam. They have the congratulatory stuff. Everybody, gives each other high fives and says, hey, you did a great job. And then they send the pick in. Pick's got to get sent over to the official person that's going to write it on the card so that they can go up and hand it to Roger Goodell. And then Roger Goodell is going to walk it. So that's the reason why it takes like 5 or 6 minutes for the very first pick to happen. It's more about semantics than anything else. So that's kind of be patient with that when that does take place, because yes, I agree. Like the very moment that Roger Goodell walks up and says the NFL draft is officially underway, the Titans are on the clock, and with the first pick, like that probably should be the case is going to be taking place. Now, John's been making some picks. One thing that I wanted to edit myself about what we were talking about a little while ago is going to be Kelvin Banks Jr. Kelvin Banks Jr. He's listed as a guard. A lot of the NFL though is looking at him as more of a tackle. That's who I think that the Bears should go with when we're sitting there talking about that number 10, because I'm going to assume Genty is going to be gone. I think that maybe Mason Graham may be gone when you're talking about offensive line help, depending. Will Campbell is going to be gone. And then Kelvin Banks may be one of your tackles that you could get to try to get that offensive line help to get the outer edges of your offensive line fixed, because you fixed the inner triangle.
Yeah, well, they got DeAndre Swift at the running back position, so I don't know if Genty's even going to be a thought, but it is DeAndre Swift we're talking about, so he's hit or miss, depends on the offensive line that's in front of him. So
depends. You could actually trade up, use Swift as part of your trade, then get Genty.
Yeah, you definitely could, but we continue on with the draft, the mock draft that might in fact be the real draft, but the 49ers, I've got them actually going out to Texas, and I have them going with Jahdae Barron, and he is the cornerback that I think honestly would add on to this team, because when you look at what they need, obviously the guard, tackle, defensive line, those are all really important. But with the best, if you want the best buck for your pay, or the best, I don't know,
bang for your buck.
Bang for your buck.
There
Thank you very much, Joe Hug. I think you're going to go with the 11th top ranked player in the entire draft, and that is Jahdae Barron. Of course, out of Texas. He's standing at 5'11", 200 pounds, and he's got a lot of experience, Joe. He played 3 full seasons with this Texas Longhorns team, and throughout that time, he was a pretty big deal. So definitely something to keep an eye out. What do you think on that one?
So help me out in this, because I was also sending out tweets and stuff about the NFL draft as we were going throughout talking about this. What number are you at?
I'm at 11 with the 49ers.
All right, you're at 11 with the 49ers.
And we have talked about some trades that could possibly happen. Joe was talking a little bit about the Bears. I was talking a little bit about the Jets. Those are 2 teams that we're going to keep an eye on with some notable first-round trades.
Well, and with San Francisco and who you went with San Francisco on that?
Jahdae Barron.
Jahdae Barron. Okay, so what? And I'm looking at with their depth chart right now, which is where I go with a lot of this stuff. I always want to see is, one, the George Kittle situation. Do you believe that George Kittle is actually going to be somebody that you are going to be able to get all this stuff done with, and everything that you're kind of figuring out with him? I could look at somebody like a Williams at edge rusher. You could possibly look at a Shamir Stewart as well at edge rusher in there. I honestly could really see them going Mason Graham on this. If he's available at 11, I could really see them going with him.
I don't know if Mason Graham's going to be available
if he's not available at 11, then I see him go offensive line.
No. Okay.
I'm trying to not say offensive line for every single pick.
But that's the thing, though.
But the problem is that one, offensive line is going to be somebody that you can rely on for the next 4 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, a lot of times, especially in a draft like this, the skill position players at this point in time, especially quarterback wise and even running back wise or tight end / wide receiver, they are not at their draft grade is not as high up right now as some of the offensive linemen are.
Yeah. The reason I was going with Barron was because Charvarius Ward, he entered into the free agency this past offseason. So when you lose a guy like him, who was one of the top, I would say, in the NFL, at least consistency-wise, I think that's where you got to kind of fill that hole. And you bring in a rookie, and he helps out the secondary of the defense. That's why I think it is a good pick. But defensive line, I would kind of stay away from. You still got Nick Bosa, so I think that's a totally fine position. Offensive line, of course, you want to kind of build up a little bit more on, but I'm going to keep it interesting, and I'm going to go out to Texas. But Joe, my next one's going to be the Cowboys. I'll get your opinions on this one first.
Okay, so Dallas Cowboys have a few needs that they need to be addressing. Obviously, we have a ton of Cowboys fans in the market, which is, basically every single city in the United States. Right now, some of their biggest needs are going to be defensive tackle. They also need help in their secondary as well. So what I would be looking at for them You're not going to go for a Will Johnson this early in quarterback help there. But what I would be thinking about with them would be going into the defensive tackle range. So whatever your DT one is at that point in time, if it is a Walter Nolan, if it's a Kenneth Grant, something like that, I could also see, and I know that I've already picked him.
No.
It would be Jalen Walker.
No,
like that would be another one.
Not going to be any of those guys. Actually.
No, because they're going to be dumb and they're probably going to take a wide receiver.
Matthew Golden, to be specific.
Like I said, yes, they're going to be.
They're
dumb
taking Matthew Golden. He's staying
because they obviously don't want to win.
So I had to make sure that panel didn't just fall. I heard a noise, but it might have just
that was
been
the door shutting.
I got you.
Yeah,
so
door shutting.
Matthew Golden's going to be going to the Cowboys, no doubt about that. And now we get to the Dolphins. Joe, you've been waiting for this moment. I know exactly what they're doing. We just had a caller actually call in, Lil Ronnie. He was asking who the Dolphins would be picking.
You taking already? You making that pick? Did they already give you a holla?
I'm making the pick for them, and I think they're going to listen to me. I actually think that, and this is on my list. All right, I'd show the camera if it was looking at me. Damn it. They're going Tyler Booker from Alabama.
That's a fantastic pick.
Yeah.
If that is exactly what they need to do.
Exactly.
They need offensive line help.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. The only thing that they've added right now is a right guard. They've added James Daniels in the free agency period. You still have Aaron Brewer. You need a center. Aaron Brewer is a fantastic number 2. You need another center. Like you absolutely do in there. You have Austin Jackson in the right tackle position. Patrick Paul is your left tackle right now.
You know damn well Aaron Brewer ain't going to do it though.
No. You need a center or a guard. One of those two you need. And I'm assuming I make the assumption, I should not make the assumption there's a lot that goes into center, but I'm not also saying that Booker would get drafted as a center. You need offensive line help.
Yeah. Regardless of what it is.
The amount of money you just invested in Tua, you need as much offensive line there as possible. If you could get 4 RoboCops and you can have them standing on the offensive line for you, you do that. You don't even need that. You need like the T1000, okay? I'm playing the RoboCop.
You've been playing too much.
I've been playing RoboCop. It is a very depressing game, but I've been playing. It looks amazing.
His backstory is depressing as hell.
If we had that game in 1989, oh my heavens. But this game is absolutely amazing. Okay, for anybody that loved RoboCop. So, but you need like the T1, everybody there, just these big, unmovable beats so that nobody even looks at Tua. I don't even want a guy in a different helmet staring too long at Tua. Just so, look, I get caught with this at times. I'm over here trying to plan tattoos that I'm wanting, and I'll walk by somebody, they'll be tattooed up, and I'll just be like checking out their arm tattoos, and I'll be going, oh, they probably, I don't know what they're thinking right now, but I feel weird because even like a female will be walking by and they have the arm tattoo like on the back part of their forearm, and they'll be walking and I'll be looking at it. It looks like I'm looking at their butt, and I'm not. I'm just trying to look at the tattoo. I don't even want somebody looking at Tua's tattoos. Don't even want that. I do not want anybody close enough where they can read anything on Tua's arms.
I totally agree with you. I don't want anybody I don't want him going to Flo Supreme Air, jumping around, because even that would end it for him.
I'd give him a concussion. He'd be done.
Go to the Indianapolis Colts, 14th pick in the draft. Joe, you've been waiting for this one. He's been rocking the colors regardless. He's going to rock the same ones. Give me Tyler Warren.
I knew you were going to say
You knew I was going to say. Drew Ogletree is not the answer. You need help on the offensive line. You need help at the wide receiver position. A little bit less, but regardless, you still do need more weapons for Anthony Richardson. I mean, you could throw out 17 wide receivers. He'd still need more help. But yeah, I think Tyler Warren's the big guy for him.
Well, and I think that Warren's going to be gone before this, so I would actually think that possibly like Colston Loveland, maybe the option.
Yeah.
But man, I do not want Warren to go to the Colts. Absolutely not.
It definitely wouldn't be the sexiest pick.
I'm also extremely happy that we're not doing like a draft special tonight where we're sitting here and reacting to all these picks, because on camera you would hate me. I would just be sitting there like, come on,
dude. I would love that.
Oh, I would be.
Why didn't we think about this next? Okay, anybody wants to sponsor that? Let's set that up for next year. Joe, we got number 15, the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of people are riding on this pick right here. They're going defense. I've switched this one up. I was thinking Mike Green would be a really good addition. This guy's a big body, all right, from Marshall. But that's not where I'm going. I'm going Jahad Campbell. I'm going a playmaker. I'm going to a leader. I'm going Alabama. Jahad Campbell going to the Falcons.
Why?
They do need some linebacker.
No, they
do.
They absolutely need linebacker.
And at this point, you could go with the rusher, the defensive end in Mike Green. But at the same time, you look at Jahad Campbell, you look at the competition he played up against in the SEC. It's the closest thing to the NFL, Joe. Sorry. You're getting Jahad Campbell right here. So, I mean, if you want to change that around, you can. I think they're fine at the wide receiver position, as much as a lot of people want to say. I think they're fine at, well, maybe a little questionable at the center. You can get that later on in the draft.
I actually think that they should trade up for Jalen Walker, or if they could even somehow get to Abdul Carter, I would absolutely do that. Those are like right now, honestly, like I'm looking at the Patriots.
Yeah.
You know that you think about with Drake May, you get somebody like Kirk Cousins to be his backup. You eat the $10 million. That is a total Mike Vrabel guy in Kirk Cousins.
And they could still go wide receiver, but they're not going to at that 15th spot.
Falcons could then move up to the 3 spot, pick up an Abdul Carter. I would absolutely love that for him. Now, again, the Jahad Campbell thing is not bad in there. It's just taking a linebacker there. Okay, I see it. But again, a Shamir Stewart could be somebody that I actually see going that position as well, giving you an edge rusher in there. But if not there, then I just don't think that Campbell's going to go there.
No,
I just don't.
Okay. Well, if he wasn't going to go to the Falcons, then he's probably going to the bird behind him in the Cardinals. But I think the Cardinals are actually going to go cornerback on this. They're going to pass on Mike Green as well. Don't worry. Mike Green's going to get his love, and they're going to go Will Johnson from Michigan.
See, and I think that they are going to go defense. I think that if Walker's there, they're going to go there. If not, going to go with somebody like is it Michael Williams? I think they're going to go that edge rusher, give you somebody on that side, give you somebody that you really haven't had since JJ Watt over the past few years. And you got JJ Watt after his prime with the Texans. Like that's kind of what you're going to need. And I think that's where they're going to be looking at there. And if all of those options are gone, then give offensive line help and give Kyler Murray somebody that can block in front of him. So that could be a place that I could see Josh Simmons going as well.
Yeah, the Cardinals are a mess. Let's just be blunt with that one. The Bengals, on the other hand, aren't a mess. They just need a little bit more help, I would say, in the offensive line, especially on that offensive line. But you look at what you got in the talent, okay? You look at the tackles, you look at the guards that are on this list. They're a little bit farther back. You could probably wait. You could also probably do a trade in the second round, maybe make something happen there. But this is where I think Mike Green will go. And if not Mike Green, I think it's going to go down the list a little bit. And I think this is where Nick Scorton's actually going to drop because I actually think he is a little bit more of a powerhouse than one Mr. Mike Green, especially because SEC built, SEC born. I think it's the closest thing to the NFL, Joe, and I'm going to stand by that. But we'll go Mike Green for this, Marshall, brother.
Okay, so you finally found a spot for Mike Green to go on this. I do like the idea of an edge rusher for them or some sort of help on the defensive line in there. You have to remember they still have Trey Hendrickson on this. I think that they honestly could go potentially with defensive tackle on this side for them. And if I'm looking at somebody for the Bengals, and what I'd probably be looking at would be like a Derek Harmon. I'd possibly, even if Walter Nolan is available, possibly that, or we go back to Shamir Stewart or Williams, like an edge rushers that way. If other guys are going, again, remember, this is all at this point in time based on who's off the board and who's not. You have what you have to do and what's going to happen in these war rooms. You're going to have your top 5 on every position that you're going to want to have. And obviously you're resetting this as it's going along, but then you're also going to have your individual overall rankings where then you're going to start saying, okay, do we see somebody like a Michael Williams being somebody like a Shamir Stewart? Like, which one do we see ranked higher in this scenario that we're going to want to go with for us? Then they start looking at those. So those are kind of one of those I'll look at. They're going to go defensive line.
And I'm looking at the Seahawks to probably trade, but if we're not going to say trade, because I think they would trade back, possibly get somebody for that offensive line. I actually see them getting Josh Simmons regardless. I see them getting Ohio State big boy, and I think it's a solid one for him. He's got a lot of experience. The only thing is, obviously, the injury concerns from last season. But I think this is a typical Seattle Seahawks move. I think they're going to grab Josh Simmons and they're going to rock with him. Helps out with their quarterback position. Obviously, it's going to give Sam Darnold a little bit more time. It's not a sexy pick, but it's a pick that's going to give your quarterback a little bit more lifespan.
I think that Seattle is going to go with the best pass catcher available.
So Luther Burden would probably be that guy.
Well, and if it's Luther Burden, then there. If it's McMillan, they go there. If it's Loveland, they go there. If it's Golden, they go there.
Yeah.
Basically, whoever the best pass catcher is available, that's who I think Seattle's going.
Okay.
Which for us, I've already named Loveland like twice. I've already named like Golden once or so. McMillan, I think, went off the board at like 5 in what we were doing. So
yeah, these guys are getting picked up. I wouldn't be totally against the Luther Burden to Seattle, honestly. I think he'd look good in that uniform. I think he'd fit alongside Jackson Smith and Jigba because you got that tall wide receiver. You got the slot wide receiver. It's a combination similar to what Miami has with Waddle and Hill. But I went Josh Simmons to Seattle. And Joe, I would love to continue this, but we're going to have to put a little pin in it until the last segment of the show because we have to hop into a break. Because when we come back, we're getting Cody Goodwin's interesting perspective on the draft. Yes, that's what we're doing. When we get back here on the Blitz on 97.7, ESPN, The Zone, and WZZN TV with Just Joe.
You can now do more without it costing you more. Alabama's attractions have come together to offer the all-in-one ticket that downloads to your mobile device. No matter how many attractions listed on the ticket you see during the time span you bought, your price stays the same. Pick the right ticket option that best fits your schedule, and then enjoy more attractions without spending more. All-in-one tickets for different areas of Alabama are available at alabama.travel and other places where online tickets are sold. Brought to you by Alabama Tourism Department, the ABA, and this station.
Hey, brother. Saw you call.
John, I've been thinking about our days during the war, and
I'm on my way.
Thanks, man.
If you are a veteran struggling with depression, anxiety, or need someone to talk to, call 800-273-8255. Press 1. It's private and free 24/7. Call 800-273-8255 or visit vetsforhope.com. Sponsored by the Partners of Alabama's Challenge and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
We're doing on July 9th at 11 p.m. Central. But that is the first time that you're going to get the opportunity to play the new college football 26 as it is going to be. That's when it is going to be available. That's an early drop.
The excitement for last year compared to this year, it is dropped. In fact, it is dropped.
Yeah, because we had a scenario last year where this was the first time that we were getting it. We were all excited. But Metallica is supposed to be in this, which means Inner Sandman is going to be at VTech.
Sweet. I know that's like the only thing you care about right there, but I haven't seen any of the info on it.
Because they haven't really dropped any.
Oh, last year they were dropping it left.
Well, last year they were trying to hype it up like crazy, where this year, again, and this is something about you can obviously tell my passion for the NFL draft based on how we've been talking over the past couple of days.
Yeah.
But I played the college football game more than I did anything else.
Ooh.
Like I barely played Madden. My son yesterday turned it on and it was, we need to update. It was sat there for like 15 minutes because he pressed the button to turn Madden on. And I'm just going, it's going to be a minute because I have not clicked on this game in about 7 or 8 months.
Yeah. If you're just joining us on the show, we've had to make a few adjustments.
We're talking to John behind a plated glass. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
he is joining us from the Huntsville City jail. And so this is the only way that we could get a camera on him.
It genuinely it looks like you're talking to me through the jail, like that. I don't know, the visitation or whatever.
It's the visitation right here. We're doing a FaceTime right now in one of those little special rooms over at the Huntsville City Jail.
But you know what? We made it work for you. If you're going and watching over on WZZN TV, make sure you subscribe for that because the effort is definitely there. But the effort is also there in Tuscaloosa as Alabama looks to throw a few players into the draft. I'd say maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe more. Who really knows? Well, Cody Goodwin from Bama 247 might have a little bit of an idea as he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Cody, great to hear from you again. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I think I set the line at like 6.5 Alabama players taken over the course of this weekend. Would you guys go over or under?
I'm sitting right now at 5. I'm thinking 5 for sure. If it's 6, then I think it'll be a good draft for Alabama just because of the players that are, of course, coming in. I don't think it's the strongest class we've seen throughout the years.
Yeah, I think I'd go under. I say maybe at 6, but yeah, I would go under on that, which is kind of bad to think about that because there's been a period of times where Alabama's had 6 guys drafted in the first 2 rounds. I mean, really, they have. So it's kind of crazy to say that only 6 get drafted total if that's the case.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know. We'll obviously get into it, but I think some of those hinge guys that, are kind of, that may go 5th, 6th, 7th round, or at least that's where they're projected to go. I'm talking like CJ Dupree, Tim Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Those might be the difference between, a smaller Alabama draft and perhaps they get over that 6.5 mark. Right.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, there's things working in those guys' favors, but it's also, I don't know. I feel like this is it's a different draft than maybe in years past where there's not a lot of star power, but there's a lot of useful players. So it just might be kind of, beauty's in the eye of the beholder when it comes to these GMs and what they're looking for.
Could part of this also still be the Bama bump? Like these, I know they've only been in one year of the new system, but it's like hey, they still have that Nick Saban type of being bred by him whenever they came in as freshmen, that you could see them saying they know about being a professional more than others because of the way that they were taught by him before the change.
Yeah, I think there's probably some of that, especially in the case of like Malachi Moore, for example, who, all SEC player. He made the switch from the slot to safety this past year to kind of showcase a little bit more positional versatility. Did that help him? It doesn't really seem like it did. He's projected probably pretty safely into that 5th, 6th round. I can see him maybe going as high as the 4th. I don't really think any team's going to take a chance on him and take him in day 2, but that's a guy that started as a freshman for Nick Saban in that defense. And he ultimately lost that starting spot, but just really reliable. He's got coverage skills. He's got the versatility after playing safety this past season. So, I'm sure that there's a defensive coordinator somewhere or a GM somewhere that, this guy could help us. May not be like a full-time starter or, maybe doesn't have an all-pro ceiling, but this is a guy that can come in and be useful for us 15, 20, 25 snaps a game. And I think the fact that he was recruited by Saban, he started for Saban convinced him to come back before he ultimately retired. He stayed through the coaching change. There's a lot of things working in Malachi's favor that'll, probably get him drafted sometime on Saturday and perhaps maybe keep him around to make a 53-man come the fall.
Yeah, and how much do these scouts look at, his attitude towards the sport as well? Because last year you see he was one of the fired up guys that was leading the defensive side, but it also led to some negatives. And of course, we saw a lot of that around the Vanderbilt game and going into the NFL. Of course, you want to have a guy with that type of energy, but has that been something that maybe has hurt him going forward into this year's draft?
Not to my knowledge, because he came out and pretty well owned it pretty quickly after that whole Vanderbilt meltdown, right? Like he posted something on social media. He stood in front of us and took all those questions when we got to talk to him that following Tuesday. So there's a little bit of a leadership aspect there. He was, a team captain this past season. So that, I think that matters quite a bit. I think more GMs and scouts were impressed by the fact that a guy of his stature stayed through the coaching transition to really help keep a lot of the roster together. I think that will play pretty well, right? Like this guy just has some natural leadership qualities and, he's driven, right? Like he loves football. Like the reason he came back was to position himself to potentially have a better, more well-rounded NFL shot and to grow and develop a little bit more as a prospect. So I don't know that that'll necessarily hurt him. I'm sure it's a question he had to answer throughout the process, but it doesn't sound like it's something that's going to impact where he'll get drafted this weekend.
And looking at Milroe, do we know how many suits he took with him to Green Bay? Like, is there a thought that he's actually going to be in the building tonight, or is he going to be more of just a second day guy that's when he's going to be over in the facility for the NFL draft?
I think, we're talking Milroe, right?
Yeah. Jalen Milroe, the quarterback now that is considered a better runner than Lamar Jackson.
That's okay. Settle down now.
That's what it was. Look, there was an article that said that.
I think ESPN on the TVs is just kind of running out of stuff at this point.
Yeah.
I think there's probably an element of that there. I mean, look, could potentially Cleveland, who has the number 1 pick in the second round, trade their way up into the end of the first round and grab Jalen Milroe? I think if there are teams that could do that, I know Vegas, I think, picks within the first 5 or 6 picks of the second round. Maybe they trade back up into the first round if they really feel like Milroe is a guy that they want to add to the room. Those are 2 teams that I could see maybe doing a first round surprise a little bit. We really haven't heard a lot in the way of rumors and trades and this thing and that thing. And so, could there be some surprises tonight during the first round? Maybe. I think the other thing to consider as well, and this is probably a little bit more in the like broadcasting journalism type weave, like he's going to be there as a talking point, I think, for the broadcast tonight, because he's a very polarizing player, right? Like he was at one point, he was one of the front runners for the Heisman, and then he ultimately flamed out. Depending on what outlet you read, he is as high as a top 50 overall prospect. He's also as low as potentially a middle day 3 type guy, right? Like just depending, whether you read The Ringer, The Athletic, ESPN, CBS, like there are kind of all over the board on this guy. He's considered a top 5 quarterback prospect in a group of quarterbacks that's not really considered very good, right? Like I think the consensus is that Cam Ward out of Miami is probably going to go first overall to Tennessee. And then there are some mock drafts, a lot of mock drafts really, that don't have another quarterback getting taken in the first round, right? I think Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado is the number 2. And then depending on what flavor you prefer, there's Milroe, there's Tyler Shuck, there's Jackson Dart. Like, who is your number 3 guy? I think, again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But I don't know that this is going to be like this draft lacks star power. And so what does that mean for Milroe? I'm not 100% sure, but just the what he's been through, the fact that he's going to be there with Jahad Campbell and Tyler Booker. Does the team want to jump up and take a chance on this guy? Like he's going to be a talking point that I think a lot of the broadcast will circle back on throughout the night. I'm not sure it'll be very, very early, but once you get into the early 20s, I think that's when, the cameras will train on him a little bit more. The guys at the desk are going to talk about him a little bit more. They're going to talk up his strengths. They're going to talk about his weaknesses. Nick Saban will be on one of the broadcasts. I'm sure he'll have a lot to say, or at least in addition to what he has said this week. So I think I don't want to say that that's also a reason why he got invited, but I mean, if you're a guy in the producer truck for the draft tonight, like you don't hate it.
No, you're going, all right, let's just figure out where he is at all times. Just have somebody watching him so that if we ever need to have like a dot put on a map somewhere so that we know where to go, need to know where he's at.
Yeah, Cody Goodwin from Bama 247 is our guest. And if there's anything that you could tell us about Jalen Milroe that nobody else has said throughout these last few weeks and months, I know that a lot of people, whenever they're done with the quarterback, of course, Alabama fans, they like to just have this one rhetoric around them. And for the most part, it seems like it's a lot of negative rhetoric. But if there's one thing you could tell us that we haven't heard about Jalen Milroe and possibly the success that he might be able to achieve within the NFL.
I think it depends on his landing spot, man. And I don't know that that's necessarily a new opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were to ask me what his draft profile is like, it's he's probably one of the most fantastic athletes in the draft, pound for pound. He's got an insane first step burst. He has a big arm, but he also struggles reading defenses sometimes. When he panics, sometimes he's able to turtle up a little bit, and that's when things really go haywhacky a little bit. I think he needs a spot that has a good coach. He needs a spot that has a good system. He needs a spot that has a veteran that he could potentially learn from. And, we don't need to go down every single list of teams that maybe match those qualities specifically, but I don't know that he's a guy that's going to come in and be the starter right away. I'm not sure that he's viewed as a guy that's going to go in and be expected to be the starter. I don't even think he expects that. He did an interview with some reporters yesterday when him and Jihad and Booker all got to Green Bay, and he was like, yeah, I think ideally I'd like to go to a place that has a vet that I can learn from, right? Because there's, he's got to go in. He understands he's got to earn the respect and trust of the teammates in the locker room wherever he goes. I think there are some spots that maybe sound a little bit better over others, right? Like I think some people are linking him to Pittsburgh. I don't know that I like that very much, to be quite honest. I don't. Since Big Ben retired, they've kind of cycled through quarterbacks. I'm not sure I'm a big fan, but another team that I've come around on a little bit is maybe Vegas, right? Because the Raiders, you look at, they've got Geno in the building, so there's a vet, not just a vet, but a guy that has really kind of overcome his own challenges in his career. Pete Carroll is a guy that has won at every level of football he's ever coached. Yep. And their offensive coordinator is Chip Kelly, who just helped Ohio State win a national title. He's a pretty creative offensive mind that can utilize all of Milroe's strengths. I'm talking both his strong arm and his fast legs. I don't know that he would go in expecting to be the starter, but you got to think that Chip would probably create a package of 10, 12, 15 plays for a guy like Milroe that they could go in and use them if something were to ever happen to Geno. So that's a landing spot that sounds good to me. I think there are some others, when you look at it in that way of framing that make a little bit of sense, right? Baltimore, Philly both sound like they make a little bit of sense as well if they were to take him in the second or third round. I personally think going to the Los Angeles Rams with Sean McVay and you get to sit and learn under Matt Stafford for a couple years, maybe that could be a beneficial spot for him. So there are a few, when I frame it that way, I think there are a few spots that make a little bit more sense than others. And I mean, I'll be honest, I want to see this guy succeed. So I'm really pulling for one of those teams to pull the trigger on him sometime on Friday if he doesn't go tonight. And, hopefully he has a nice little NFL career.
Thinking all of this just kind of sounds like Denard Robinson whenever he came out into the NFL, and then they didn't know what to do with him over in Jacksonville. They had to kind of move him around until he was a running back, and of course his career kind of fiddled out. But for Jalen Milroe, you definitely don't want to see that happen. But talk about the guy that will actually get drafted in the first round, at least it's down on most people's mock drafts as well as a lot of analysts. Of course, Jihad Campbell on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, man. He it sounds like some injuries or maybe scaring a few scouts here and there, right? He's been pretty beat up after this past season, and I think I don't know if it's like full-on surgeries or some operations that he'll probably need before he's finally able to be full go. But I mean, this is a special player. We've got to see him each of the last couple of years. He seems like he's pretty locked into somewhere, middle to late first round, right? Just one of those off-ball linebackers who can do a little bit of everything, who is still kind of trending upward in terms of realizing his full potential. So, I mean, this is just, he was the queen on the chessboard for Alabama's defense. And it seems like a lot of his traits can translate pretty seamlessly to the NFL as well. So I wouldn't be shocked at all to maybe see Campbell be the first Alabama player taken off in the NFL draft sometime tonight. I think when you're talking about like highest ceiling, I think that's Jihad Campbell, right? I think there's still a lot that he needs to improve on a little bit. But just the traits that he's going to bring to whatever franchise ultimately takes him, they're going to get a special player who can make an impact on day one. And as he continues to grow and develop, it wouldn't shock me at all to see 2, 3, 4 years down the line here, if he's one of the best defensive players in the NFL. I think he can be that good.
Cody Goodwin joins us from Bama 247 as we continue to talk about the Bama players that are going to get drafted tonight. And we've mentioned all of these guys, but then there's Booker. And I mean, he could go before everybody if we're talking Alabama guys with how good, how many teams are needing offensive line help. What are you thinking about with him coming up this evening?
I think a lot of has been made of his like poor NFL combine, right? Like he didn't post a lot of the best numbers. And I really think people are maybe overthinking that a little bit too much. Like he has been routinely regarded as the best guard in the NFL draft, like number one guard. He's viewed as a plug and play guy. He plays with some nasty, maybe needs some improvement a little bit in pass protection, but he's just a really, really good run blocker. I think, folks, if people don't overthink this, like Cincinnati at 17 seems like a no-brainer to me, right? Assuming that they stay there, right? And I think Joe Burrow would be a very, very happy man, right? Because you take Tyler Booker, you put him somewhere on the interior, and Joe Burrow doesn't get beat up 30, 40, 50 times a year, right? Because you got a guy that'll protect him at all costs. I think if people do overthink this, which I hope they don't, but if they do, wouldn't surprise me at all to see Booker fall to like Baltimore at the end of the first round. And then Lamar Jackson's just going to be a very, very, very happy man, right? Because and especially like when Baltimore's offense is a little bit more run first, and that's obviously where Booker excels at. So I think there's a few different landing spots, I think, in the first round. I agree with you. I think he could very well be the first Alabama player off the board, depending on what scouts think of, Jihad's, health status currently. And I think there's a lot of spots that make sense for Tyler Booker. That this draft may not be very big on star power, but I think I've heard a few different draft people call this kind of a meat and potatoes draft, where not a lot of star power at the top, but there's a lot of really useful players, especially both offensive and defensive linemen. And when you look at all the offensive linemen, Booker's near the top of the list at virtually every turn, man. And I think NFL teams would be kind of silly to let this guy slip to the end of the first round.
No, and I totally agree with that statement. I think even looking at just the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, I think these are guys that aren't going to make you really open your eyes wide. It's more of, this guy's going to be a solid pillar that's going to help our team maybe get to a playoff and maybe even get forward to that. But Cody, always wonderful having you on, man. Before we get you out of here, though, Alabama, Missouri this weekend, I'm thinking we might see success. What are you thinking, man?
I think this week, and then this weekend in particular, I know they beat Stanford on Tuesday, and now they've got a home stretch against a very, 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 let's just say what it is, a very, very bad Missouri team.
Terrible.
I think this is just what the doctor ordered, man, because you look at their last two series, right? They dropped 2 of 3 against Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. They dropped 2 of 3 against a pretty good LSU team, right? So that's life in the SEC sometimes. So they're able to get a win over Stanford. I'd like to see them complete the sweep against Missouri, right? It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. I think that will help them get on track before they play Vanderbilt, and then they finish with Georgia and Florida before the SEC tournament. I think Missouri's kind of just what the doctor ordered for this Alabama team to hopefully get on track and start peaking for the postseason.
I'd definitely love to see it happen. I know a lot of our area would as well, going all the way down to Tuscaloosa. But Cody, as always, appreciate your time. Let the people know where they can find you on socials and online.
Yeah, man, just on Twitter at Cody Goodwin. And then we've got at Bama247, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. We're going to have complete coverage of the NFL draft this upcoming weekend, just where these Alabama players go. We're going to have a roundup on Sunday of where they all landed, including some of the undrafted free agent guys. And then we're also going to take a way too early look ahead at some of the 2026 NFL draft hopefuls as well to kind of spin this thing forward and get everybody ready for the off season. So that's at Bama247, again, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Come along and enjoy the ride with us.
Always love it, Cody. Great stuff. Have a wonderful weekend, man.
Appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Cody Goodwin, Bama247. Always great to get his input on all things Tuscaloosa. We head to break. When we come back, finishing up my mock draft and hopping into the phone lines, 256-576-97.7. Here on ESPN The Zone. Like the way I did that? I just combined the number and okay.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at SensaGreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 977 ESPN The Zone.
Final segment, best segment. Woo! As we get ready to wrap up the Blitz on this Thursday, 97.7 ESPN, the Zone, WCCN TV, where you can see me clearly. You can see John through the Huntsville City Jail bulletproof glass that he is behind right now. Oh, yeah. 8 hours, 12 minutes, and 8 seconds until the NFL draft gets going. This is going to be in college. This is going to be in the new college football 2026 from everything that I'm seeing. So that means that now 9,000 million people are going to be playing this Virginia Tech.
That's awesome.
That is literally that is it. That is the reason why everybody is going to be playing as them. That's like Paul Skeens being on the Pirates is 90% of the reason why everybody's playing as Pittsburgh right now on MLB The Show.
Oh, I totally agree with you. We got a draft to get through though, and we're going to go kind of rapid.
I think we should just go to the phone lines. Yeah, let's just go to the phone lines.
Josh, are you there?
Joshua.
Somebody's there. Josh. 97.7
ESPN The Zone. Who's this?
Nope, no, he's not there. Okay. So what happens is I accidentally, when we're in mid-conversation, I'm told, we'll back up the curtain a little bit. Oh, there he is. Josh, you there? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on,
Oh,
fellas?
heavens.
See, I just had to hang up on Cody. There you go.
Sorry, Cody. Call back real fast, Cody. Call back real fast, Cody.
You don't have to, Cody.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, man. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. John is looking great through the plexiglass right now. We're doing good.
It's my side profile. I mean, my chin is very chiseled, but my hair looks a little wonky. Look at this. Watch this if you're watching on WZZN TV.
Hey, you're in jail. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, trust me.
Not too bad. I got that. Me and Joe both get the headphone dip, but his comes in the form of his hawk.
Yeah, especially whenever I'm doing games, I'll get that headphone dip going on right now. But what's up, bro?
I think they call it.
I just wanted to talk about Jalen Milroe. I mean, we all know he's a great runner and very physical, and he's fast, and he can throw the deep ball. I think, me personally, he's going to end up getting a shot late first round. And I know he has trouble throwing the short ball, but the NFL teams, these guys got coaches. They've got the facilities to coach him up on that. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Lamar Jackson. I remember him being a fantastic runner and a great deep ball thrower, and him having trouble with the short ball. And look at him now. He's in the MVP running every year, you know. So I feel like, you know, somebody's going to take that shot on Jalen, and I think it's going to pay off.
Yeah, and I see exactly where you're coming from, because that is still a concern a lot of people had going into, I think, 2023 with, of course, Lamar, and that's after he got an MVP. But people were still thinking, like, his one flaw was his throwing ability. It was never super accurate. He could chuck it downfield, but even at that point, it was making it over players. But it is the willingness to learn, though. And I think that's what we've seen from Lamar Jackson. And that is what we're going to wait to see from a guy like Jalen Milroe. And who knows? I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs always can do something crazy. All right. They don't need a quarterback, but they also love to have interesting players on their team.
There's no way on earth they're going to consider him.
Yeah, you think that.
There's no way
You
on earth.
think
You
that.
never know.
You never know.
But,
No, I could almost
this,
stamp that
I
one.
feel like Jalen might end up surprising people and be better in the future than Cam Ward.
Well, and I'm looking at the first five picks of the second round right now: Cleveland, New York, then Tennessee, then Jacksonville, and Vegas. I could see either Cleveland and or New York drafting him just so that they, you know, because of a quote unquote project. And look, his ability,
not New York.
Well, and again, I don't disagree with you.
I'm just glad I didn't say the Browns.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm saying I said Cleveland or New York.
No, I'm talking about Josh. Like he'd rather him go to the Browns, which I'm all for.
The thing about Milroe, and this is where all these meetings and the reason why you have these sessions with him and everything like that is going to be coachability. The reason why so many people are down on him is because of the lack of coachability. And I think that is going to be the question. If he wants to continue down with the lack of coachability, then he is going to never be more than a
Denard Robinson.
No, I wouldn't even say Denard Robinson. I would say he's never going to be more than a backup quarterback on the scout team. Like he's never going to be anything in the NFL. If he changes and he actually wants to be coached and he is willing to make changes and he's willing to work like that, then okay, there may be an opportunity for him at an organization that wants to put the time in. But until he proves his coachability, I'm not even considering him a possibility for being an everyday starting quarterback.
I feel like he's gonna want to make those changes and pull a Jalen Hurts on it.
We would love to see it, man.
That's just me, though, and you know I'm a big Alabama fan, so I'm just hoping for the best for my guy.
Good stuff from you, Josh.
And thanks for that. And I think that with it comes Hurts, very coachable.
Yeah,
I mean, Tua, very coachable. It's going to come down to coachability.
Yeah, and I don't want to see a failure in an Alabama quarterback going into the NFL. I don't want to even see a quarterback who ends up as a second string on the Bengals for years and then he ends up in the UFL. I don't want to see that. I want to see success from these Alabama QBs. But, I mean, you got to remember, that is still a pretty rare thing to see within the NFL. So, again, he could very well end up as a second, third string quarterback that, might fizzle a little bit. But that fizzle always fizzles out. But, Joe, before we're done with this, I'm not going to just stop my NFL mock draft. People need to know my opinions, Joe.
I know there's people writing it down right now.
They're writing it down.
They've had the
Yes.
pencil out right now, right, going along with you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you agree with me.
Yes.
So 19th pick to Tampa Bay, because people care about Tampa Bay. They're going Boston College. They're going Donovan Ezerique, edge rusher. Luther Burton's going to the Broncos. Shador Sanders finally gets his pick for the Steelers. Kenneth Grant from Michigan, defensive lineman, going to the Chargers. Emeka Egbuka going to the Packers from Ohio State. Amarion Hampton going to the Vikings. They need to fill that void, On top of that, Kelvin Banks Jr. going to the Texans, right out of Texas. Colston Loveland, tight end, going to L.A., James Pierce Jr. makes it to the Ravens. Nick Scorton goes to the Lions. I know Natty Dan likes that. Trey Amos going to the Commanders. Josh Cornery going to the Bills. I'm going to leave out the Chiefs altogether. Joe?
Stay tuned tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for John's second round mock draft. When we come back at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
3.0.
The Braves roll into the 2025 season with a singular focus. Bring home the division title and remind the league what Atlanta is all about.
Swung on, driven to left center field and deep. That baby's out of here. Austin Riley. 3-0 to Olsen, and he powers one deep right center field.